The Ferdinand was a heavy tank destroyer used by German anti-tank units during World War II. 91 units were built in 1943 using Porsche tank hulls which had been produced for the Tiger tank before the competing Henschel design had been selected. Ferdinands first saw combat in the Battle of Kursk, where 89 were committed, the largest deployment of the vehicle during the war. During this battle there was an acute need for recovery vehicles in the heavyweight category. The standard recovery vehicle of the Panzer divisions was 18-ton half-track FAMA. This was adequate for medium tanks like the Panzer IV, but 2 or even 3 or 4 were necessary for heavier vehicles like the Ferdinand. Another issue was that they were unarmored vehicles and were very vulnerable in a combat situation. Therefore, in the autumn of 1943 the Nibelungenwerk tank factory modified 3 tank chassis to form an armored recovery vehicle. Instead of a massive superstructure with a cannon, the recovery vehicles received a low superstructure, in which a machine gun was mounted. There was a circular entrance hatch on the roof, and in the rear part of the superstructure there were 2-part entrance doors. The official designation of the vehicle was Bergepanzer Tiger P. It was proposed to change the layout of the case in order to optimize balancing and more convenient placement of habitable compartments. As a result, the design of the base heavy tank has undergone significant changes, making the machine somewhat similar to the existing self-propelled gun. Naturally, a different purpose of technology has led to the emergence of a mass of serious differences. To speed up the development of a new project and reduce the cost of reworking existing equipment, it was decided to abandon a significant change in the design of armor units. At the same time, some of the housing parts were changed, and some new ones also appeared. The frontal part of the hull, which had armor up to 100 mm thick, remained the same. The shape of the aft hull was changed for several reasons. One of them is the creation of a new cabin for accommodating part of the crew and some equipment. The wheelhouse was a truncated pyramid with a roof. The level of protection of the cabin corresponded to the body. The design of this unit was provided with a set of viewing devices, hatches and installation for a machine gun. To improve some characteristics, it was proposed to transfer the power plant from the stern to its central part with the release of volumes to accommodate the crew, tools, spare parts, etc. Exact information about the type of used power plant is unknown. On each side should be mounted on 6 dual-track rollers of large diameter. The rollers were blocked in pairs on carts with torsion bar suspension. For a number of reasons, the elastic suspension elements were placed outside the body, parallel to it. In front of the hull were placed the guide wheels, in the feed leading. A caterpillar with a width of 640 mm was used, which is able to bring the specific pressure on the ground to acceptable values. The armament of the recovery vehicle was supposed to consist of 1 MG-34 or MG-42 machine gun. The machine gun was located in the installation on the front sheet of the hull aft house. Also, according to some information, the machine gun could be transferred to the pivot installation located on the roof hatch. Some sources also mention the additional installation in the aft part of the deckhouse roof. The crew of the car was proposed to be placed separately in 2 compartments. In front of the hull, there had to be a driver and radio operator. In the frontal and zygomatic sheets of the body there were 3 viewing devices. The frontal machine gun installation was dismantled, and the opening for it received a plug, because of which the radio operator could observe the situation only through the flap in the cheekbone of the hull. In the roof of the office there were 2 hatches. The rest of the crew was housed in the aft under the protection of the armored cabin. The latter had several inspection slots and a machine gun installation in the front plate. It was suggested to get inside through a round hatch in the roof. In the general compartment were supposed to be the commander of the car and several crew members responsible for the operation of special equipment. The task of the Bergepanzer Tiger was to create a machine capable of evacuating damaged equipment from the battlefield, as well as perform some repair operations. In this regard, on the existing chassis should install a set of special equipment for various purposes. Pulling stuck armor offered with towing hooks on the front and stern sheets of the hull and cables of appropriate strength. Also, in some cases for this purpose it was possible to use a winch located in the feed bay with a pulling force up to 10-ton force. Winch cable was issued through the hatch in the rear hull aft sheet. An additional means for pulling machinery was 1 or 2 logs transported on the chassis roof. According to others, the winch was not used for the evacuation of technology, should be used only cables and logs. The vehicle could participate in some repair work using the existing mast crane. It was proposed to transport 4 rods of different lengths with a set of special fasteners, as well as blocks, chains, on various housing mounts. If necessary, a crane of relatively simple construction was mounted on the anchorage of the aft part of the hull, which allowed lifting and carrying loads within a certain sector near the machine. According to various sources, the crane could not be used together with the machine's winch. It was necessary to lift and move loads with a set of blocks, chains, hooks. After completion of the work, the crane was disassembled and placed on the fixings of the case. Information about the operations of the recovery vehicle on the basis of an unsuccessful heavy tank is missing. All 3 vehicles were used by the 653rd Heavy Tank Destroyer Battalion, which fought on the Eastern Front. Soon, however, the unit was withdrawn from the fighting and sent for reorganization. 1 Bergepanzer Tiger was then sent to the front in Italy in the spring of 1944 together with 653rd Battalion, where it was later abandoned. The other 2 recovery vehicles were lost in the summer of 1944 on the Eastern Front. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and to make sure you don't miss my future work, please make sure you are subscribed to my channel and press the bell notification button. Thank you, and see you in the next video.